Hey guys, what's going on? Today, we are going to talk about stepping out of the victim mentality and how doing so will change your life. We're going to talk about victim mindset, breaking free of the victim mindset. We're going to talk about basically being in control of your circumstances rather than letting your circumstances control you. The problem is, given today's society's do's and don'ts, reinforced sadly by the victim mentality, has consumed America. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to change up this show a little bit, and I'm going to show you through a vulnerable story of mine how I broke my victim mentality and how you could do this too. I want to use myself as an example. If I could do it, you could do it too. You have my word. All you have to do is try, and you can move past the victim mentality as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris Warrens, and I'm the founder of Warrior Consulting. I work with entrepreneurs internationally, starting, building, and scaling their companies past the multi-million-dollar mark. And I want to run back my free offer from last month with giving you guys a free goal planning video that's not here on YouTube, just for you, so you can analyze it and learn how to set up your goals like an experienced entrepreneur of almost 15 years, and how that can lay the blueprint for you moving into 2023. If you are interested in this free offer, just drop the word goals below in the comments and we will get it out to you. So that's all you got to do. Drop goals below. Now let's get started. All right, guys. So I'm going to tell you about the day that I was wounded in combat. Some of you have heard this story. Many of you probably haven't. June 18th, 2006. I was evacuated off the battlefield in just outside of Baghdad, Iraq. I had been blown up by an IED, which is an improvised explosive device, and my truck was thrown approximately 70 feet off the road. The hole, or known as the blast hole of the IED, was 9 feet wide. So it had cut off the entire road. You couldn't drive down the road anymore. It was a single lane dirt road. And when I came to, I didn't realize I had shrapnel in my face. I had shrapnel in my back. Fortunately, everyone was alive inside the truck, and we got assessed and eventually evacuated from the incident. Now, the story to how that happened, how I got into that position to get so gravely wounded is a whole story in its own. But for today, I want to focus in on the day that I received, or the day that I was given the Purple Heart. I received it a couple weeks later, but the day that I received a Purple Heart and how traumatic it was for me. I've been struck by 13 IEDs that are documented, and that's not including near misses, like improvised explosive devices that blew up next to us, or maybe 20 feet away, or even 10 feet away. So my brain has taken numerous TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, and to say the least, a lot of PTSD was formed from that tour in particular. Many of you know my story, some of you don't, and I have worked very hard to overcome that trauma that I accrued over the course of 2 combat tours in Iraq with the 101st Airborne as a grunt, as an infantryman. And, I did not know that over the course of my 5 years in the Army, I had built entitlement around my highly decorated chest. Like, I'm pointing to my chest because in the military, you wear your awards right here. And I was considered highly decorated. I built this entitlement because I had a Purple Heart, and like 99% of people that have Purple Hearts are dead. Very few of us still are alive that have them. And this sense of entitlement grew, and I grew into unknowingly a victim mentality. I would use my story of having a Purple Heart to justify why I couldn't do certain things. So I was playing victim and I didn't realize it. And how I was playing victim was a very unique way. I would justify my actions of not being able to remember things. I would justify not accomplishing goals. I would justify not passing exams. I would justify failed relationships. I would justify all this bullshit because I had a Purple Heart. I was using the wounds received in combat as my excuse, playing victim rather than owning responsibility, that I was just shortchanging and coming up short on tests, on relationships, on memory, so on and so forth. And I didn't know that I was playing victim until I started working with a mentor around, I think, 2017. And he pointed it out to me. And it was very subtle how he pointed it out. And it was also very subtle how I was playing victim, because I wouldn't play victim around anything else. But when it came to my shortcomings, when it came to my memory, relationships, when it came to failing tests in college, and it came to this and that, and like my ability to interact, I would justify it because I was wounded. And because I was wounded, I couldn't remember things, or because I was wounded, I had a short fuse, or because I was wounded, I didn't have a good memory. And I found that I was playing victim. Yeah, I remember that day on the phone call. I remember where I was, and I didn't believe it. It took me a few days to really process it and realize that I had been playing victim. Even if it was only 1% of things in my life, my shortcomings, right? 99% of things I didn't play victim, but I didn't accept that I was playing victim because it was so deeply rooted within me. And once I started accepting it, I started realizing that I could change. And once I started realizing I can change, I began to get much better at everything I did, including owning my shortcomings. So I tell you this story because I want you to realize that many of us play victim and we don't even realize it. It's very deep rooted, and it's typically rooted around trauma or shitty situations that we've lived with, been around, or raised around. And I want you to use my story to try to relate it to you. Think about the most traumatic events you've been through. I know it's hard to think about. I have empathy for you. Think about it. And while you're thinking about it, try to think about if you justify why you can't do things because of that traumatic event. Are you playing victim because of some serious stuff that happened in your life? And that's the point to me telling you that Purple Heart story. So I'm going to move into the next piece of this show to teach you how to move past it. So the next step that I'm going to teach you, because now that you're thinking about the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you, I want you to recognize it and I want you to own it. I'm talking about really fucked up shit, guys. I'm talking about car accidents, being molested, being raped, almost being killed, getting into a fist fight and almost dying, anything really traumatic, being yelled at by your partner that really scarred you, anything really traumatic to you. Nothing is more traumatic than others. It's how we perceive it. So let's say I was wounded in combat and you were hit behind in a car. My trauma is no more than your trauma. It's equally as traumatic. It's how we deal with things. And the first step is to recognize that there was a really traumatic event, and then you own it. So if you understand that, you recognize it, you own it, and you are equally as important as anybody else who has gone through it, that is the first step, recognizing it and owning it. The next step is to take control and use that control that you've taken as a superpower to not only yourself, but to begin to impact others. Let's say you're okay talking about the traumatic event. If you can take control and use the story to help others heal, you're going to realize that you have impact and influence, and you're giving other people power to overcome their victim mentality by using yourself as an example and getting vulnerable. I very much believe in this step because it's what's helped me heal and has helped me personally, helped people move past their victim mentality by using my story. And I promise you, if you get comfortable with your story, you could do this too. The next step is understanding the byproduct of all of this is the life that you desire and you want to live. Meaning, when you move past victim mentality and start using it to help other people and empower them, you're going to begin living your life without victim mentality, and the life that you desire is a lot closer than you might actually think, because you've owned it, you're stepping past it, you're teaching others, now you're free. And you're free to not play victim, and you're free to own your shit, and you're free to control your circumstances rather than allowing circumstances to control you. So listen, guys, I know this is a change of pace. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to talk about this, drop a comment below. Let's chat about it. If not, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll definitely catch you next time.